Greetings of the day. Today I will be talking about the various aspects of the hospitality industry. As most of us are aware that the hotel and tourism industry has contributed significantly to the growth and development of the economy of various countries. Now it is for us to understand the basic concept of a hotel, the type of clientele that hotels cater to, the different types of hotels, the classification of hotels, etc., and how the hospitality industry has transformed over the past few decades. Under this module, I will be talking about the basic concept of what a hotel is and how hotels have originated. The concept of hospitality goes way back into the 17th and 18th centuries. Over, over time, uh, hotels and online travel agencies have also grown and to what we know today as Expedia and Booking.com and Travelocity, etc., and so on and so forth. Now, there were several problems that have been resolved with the help of modern hospitality. Now, by modern hospitality, I'm referring to not just hotels, but also to restaurants and tourism hubs and centers. Now, it is also essential for us to understand the basic functions of a hotel. Now, there are different categories of hotels, and some could be classified as luxury hotels or boutique hotels. And different hotels have got different service standards. However, the functions, the basic functions of each of the core revenue generating departments are more or less the same, as they all have similar objectives and similar outcomes. Again, we have different categories of hotels, which I will be covering up as one of the topics in this module. Thereafter, hotels are also classified differently. And market segmentation on the basis of clientele. Now, again, irrespective of the hotel category, different hotels target different type of clienteles. Some of them could be just leisure guests, some could be just business and corporate clients, some could also include mice, which we will address later on towards the end of this module. Now, there has been several technological trends in the hospitality industry, and there have been several crises that have been overcome by the same. Therefore, during the pre-COVID scenario, it was an entirely booming industry and sector. However, all is not lost, as they usually say that this too shall pass. So hotels have also become well equipped and have assured their guests that irrespective of COVID-19, social distancing is also being practiced. At the same time, areas are being sanitized, and therefore things are taking shape slowly but surely. And maybe by, say, the next year, things should be back to normal. Now, what is a hotel? A hotel is nothing but an establishment. Its main objective is to provide accommodation to guests and even meals and other services and amenities. They aim at hosting guests overnight or for a short period of time. It could also be long term, depending on the type of stay and the type of clientele. Now, hotel properties comprise of several categories of rooms. These could start all the way from the basic category of rooms known as deluxe rooms, going up to the luxury category of rooms, And thereafter, premium rooms and premier plus rooms and suites. And there are several amenities that are also required for lodging guests. For example, VVIP guests would request for a 24/7 butler service. And there are a few hotels, in fact, there are a lot of hotels who are into providing this kind of services. One such hotel that I'm aware of is the Oberoi New Delhi, which is one of the flagship properties of the Oberoi Group. There are, of course, another luxury category hotel with over 220 rooms. And they offer 24 by 7 butler services to the premium plus category of guests. And they cater to the needs and wants of guests as well. And every luxury hotel in the modern 21st century has a special room for special guests, especially able or disabled guests. So there are at least one or two rooms allocated for them. As we exemplify care to guests, and hotels comprise of several services that are there in the hotel. For example, a business center, although there are certain services in the business center such as printing projects and making business reports or working on presentations could be chargeable. Some hotels, um, it forms as a complimentary service, not chargeable. Then, of course, there's several F&B outlets and restaurants. A lot of hotels have got specialty restaurants. Some restaurants could either specialize in Italian cuisine or Asian cuisine. Every restaurant has its own unique style and taste and concept, again catering to the needs of guests. Of course, a bakery is there as well, along with a cafe. Then spa and recreation facilities are also available, a fitness center, swimming pool, etc., so on and so forth. And prices, of course, of rooms depend on factors based on location and the type of the property. For example, a luxury hotel base category room, say for example, a deluxe room at a luxury hotel would be more expensive in Thailand as compared to a city like Calcutta in India. So prices depend on several factors, on the type of hotel. Again, a luxury hotel has different rates. Boutique hotels are relatively less expensive and more economical. Lifestyle brands are, of course, another new category of hotels, and we will address this later. Now, let's go back to the history of hospitality. It goes way back to the ancient Greek and Roman culture. In the early stages, lodgings began in and around the 18th century. This was, however, only specifically for government officials and travelers. However, eventually, during the Middle Ages, there was a rise in Christianity. There were a lot of missionaries traveling for a more divine purpose, and they ended up opening monasteries by offering lodging and supper to various travelers. There are some Buddhist monasteries as well, which initially began offering the same facilities to travelers. In the 17th century, however, inns became extremely popular in Europe as they offered lodging, food, and they even started tending to the horses of guests As back in the 17th century, there were no vehicles and no cars, and people would travel by horses and carts. And as a result, due to the high demand of lodging facilities and inns, it led to an eventual rise in the hospitality industry, what we know today in the 21st century. It has grown into. Now, hotels and online travel agents, OTAs, have developed over the past few decades. Now, one of the oldest hotels was built in 1914 and was opened in the year 1915, known as the Palace Hotels. Is more specifically known as the Regent Palace Hotel. And at that point of time, it was one of the largest hotels in Europe, having over 1,000 rooms. Then, in the year 1927, as we all are aware of, the largest hotel corporation across the globe, known as Marriott International. Of course, Marriott was founded by none other than Mr. John Willard Marriott and his wife in the year 1927 in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital of the United States. They started off initially with simply a root beer stand, and eventually Marriott has grown to the largest multinational hotel corporation across the globe. In the year 1981, Kimpton Hotels was formed. It was founded by and owned by the Intercontinental Hotels Group. It is a San Francisco, California based hotel, which was founded in the year 1981, which was one of the first few boutique hotels in the US. Now, again, the first boutique hotel in the United States was launched by an American hotelier and entrepreneur known as Ian Schrager. He had launched the Morgans Hotel, which is still here today. It is, of course, a boutique lifestyle hotel. Then in New York City, in Times Square, which is one of the most frequently visited tourist destinations in the world, Marriott Marquis opened in the year 1985. Then Marriott International and Host Marriott Corporation were officially formed. As history shows us that Marriott International was formed in 1993 when the Marriott Corporation split into two companies. One was simply Marriott International, the other was Host Marriott Corporation. The Marriott Corporation spins off its financially healthy hotel management business from its ailing real estate operations to create two separately publicly traded companies. So, Marriott International is a hotel management business company, whereas Marriott Corporation is a publicly uh, traded company which specializes in real estate operations. Now, Marriott becomes the first company to offer its online booking. Now, most hoteliers would be very familiar with Marsha, which is nothing but Marriott's reservation for hotel accommodations. It stands for Marriott's Automatic Reservation System for Hotel Accommodations. Now, Sabre launches the first Travelocity online travel agent in the year 1996. And then after Travelocity, Booking.com was launched. It was, of course, launched in Amsterdam in the year 1996. And it has evolved into one of the largest booking websites and the most frequently used websites. Later that year, Expedia was also founded. In the US, it is, of course, one of the world's leading online travel agencies. It is also considered to be as the eighth largest travel agency in the world. Expedia spun off from Microsoft after 3 years as two separate companies. It went public in the year 1999, with Microsoft retaining a majority interest. In the same year, the first Standard Hotel, the Standard Hollywood, it opened on Sunset Strip in the year 1999 in West Hollywood, California. Now, what are the problems that were solved by modern hospitality, hotels, and resorts and restaurants? A, having a comfortable and safe place to stay for a short term, a short span of time away from home. It's a nice recreation joint, friends and relatives, houses, guest houses. Then gastro needs for food and beverages. Now, of course, not just accommodation, but also pre-cooked food or own cooking. Meals were Meals are, of course, an essential aspect over here in this regard. Hosting community celebrations and meeting friends, get-togethers. There are several community centers. Then a place to host business meetings and negotiations, made which has led to several business centers opening up in hotels, and they specifically cater to the corporate and business clientele. And business meetings and the business centers also one of the important source of revenue for hotels, and basically to relax and rejuvenate, to take a break, and to go for adventures. Now let's get to the functions of a hotel. The primary function of a hotel is to provide lodging accommodations, and a hotel also consists of several business centers or revenue generating centers, as we had discussed earlier. Hotels exist to provide service and generate profit for the owners, because the ultimate objective is profitability, no matter how big a hotel may be. But if it, it will not be successful if it doesn't generate sufficient profit. Now, of course, most hotels have this practice of going green to serve and enrich society and corporate social responsibilities. These are also an essential aspect for hoteliers to consider, for hotel groups to consider, as they are catering to the general public, to the clients, to customers, to guests, to the entire market. It is a way of green marketing, as we assure our guests that we are contributing to the society as a hotel, and we are engaging in green practices, and therefore this creates this eventually creates a demand, and at the same time guests would also be satisfied when staying in such properties, as they're aware that properties even cater to hotel properties, they cater to the welfare of the society. Hotels, of course, they provide comforts of home to those away from home. The management structure, of course, differs from larger, mid-scale, and smaller properties. Now, this we will get into this later. And ultimately, the GM is responsible for all the decisions, as every manager, senior manager, director, they all the managers, the senior managers of individual departments, they all report to the general manager in the morning meetings. Most of the five-star hotels have these morning meetings conducted by the general manager and they usually discuss areas of improvement. And the executive committee is comprised of key managers of the hotel. So these are key managers of all the departments, say front office, housekeeping, F&B service, kitchen production, and even other departments such as finance, marketing. Now, the core revenue generating areas of a hotel include the front office, the housekeeping, F&B service, the kitchen production, spa and recreation, of course. And now most hotels also have gift shops. For example, the Banyan Tree. Then, of course, banquets and conventions. They, of course, here in this category, we cater to the MICE clientele. Then again, business center and meeting rooms. Then there are other revenue generating areas such as finance and procurement, the purchasing department, the sales and marketing departments, the security and safety departments as well. We have engineering and maintenance, the human resource personnel, HR department, IT department, etc. So now there are different categories of hotels. So let us go through these categories. Now there are full service hotels. They offer a range of on-site amenities, and these amenities include restaurants, meeting spaces, exercise spaces, gyms, spas, etc. And they are usually luxury upscale or upper upscale properties. For example, the Hilton Group, the Marriott Group, and the Hyatt Group of hotels. The next category is known as the all-inclusive hotel, which again, it is similar to a full-service hotel, but the same amenities and services are bundled with the rooms into a complete package. For example, the W Hotels brand, it caters towards adults, and the Western Hotels and Resorts targets those who prefer to relax in exotic locations. Destination resorts. Now, leisure travelers, they enjoy staying at these properties. Now, there are a number of destination resorts. One such example that I've mentioned here is the Key Largo Resort and Spa. Forms as part of the Autograph Collection hotels of the Marriott Group in Florida. Now, this particular hotel is located in the Lago district, which is the largest diving capital of the world. Then there's several other destination resorts. Now, boutique hotels are different in terms of the structure, as they tend to be independent with a smaller number of rooms. Now, despite the average rate for a stay, the guest enjoys the unique and local aspects of these hotels, and they have unique room configurations and amenities, unlike corporate hotels. So, again, we have to understand that boutique hotels are not corporate hotels, as they have more amenities. Now, one such example would be the Park group of hotels in India. Now, lifestyle brand. Now, this is a fairly new concept. It is a group of hotels under a single brand, and the defining feature is that the brand stays current by changing to fit trends. Now, these are very trend related hotels. Now, for example, the Edition Hotel by the Marriott. Now, of course, this is a luxury chain, but again, it's a lifestyle brand. And the first lifestyle hotel that opened up in New York, in the US rather, would be the Citizen M Hotel. Now, these cater to millennials and more lifestyle oriented people, more specifically millennials or those who go on workations, as they say, or leisure, etc. Bed and breakfast, these are, of course, everyone is aware of Airbnb. Now, these properties are independently owned and operated by owners who are often innkeepers. They reside on site. They have now these properties are small. They have a homely design, give a personal touch, and offer access to the whole house. Now, condominiums. Now, Marriott also has its executive apartments. Now, these are similar to a home-like option. They are like condominiums on rental mode. Now, this setup is usually involves individuals and wholly owned condo units. The rental pool, it is run by a management company. So, as I mentioned before, that Marriott doesn't own all of its properties, as it either gets into the franchising model or either manages certain properties. And extended stay, of course, people want to stay for a longer time, and this would mainly be family oriented clientele, could also be leisure guests, and they seek for stay for a longer time rather than just a few nights. An example would be the Homewood Suites by the Hilton group of hotels in the US, or the one more specifically in Chicago. Now, classification of hotels. Now, a parent company, we need to understand that there's a parent company, there's a chain, and then there's a franchisee model and a management company, as I mentioned before. Your parent company consists of multiple chains from luxury to upper middle and lower categories. Now, in order to understand the concept of parent company, we need to first understand, take the example of Marriott International. Now, Marriott International owns the JW Marriott, the Ritz Carlton, St. Regis, the Edition. Now, these are basically luxury chains under the Marriott umbrella. Now, Marriott also owns its Courtyard and Fairfield, where Courtyard is an upper middle segment of hotels, and Fairfield is a little lower end category. Now chains here, as I mentioned before, they represent a hotel brand in particular. For example, as I mentioned, the JW Marriott and Ritz Carlton are luxury chains. Courtyard is an upper upscale chain. It's an upper scale chain, and Fairfield is an upper mid scale chain. Now, all these chains form a part of the Marriott group under the Marriott umbrella. Now, there are different models that Marriott ownership models. More specifically, Marriott owns over 1,000 to 1,300 properties, and the remaining properties are either under the franchisee mode, or Marriott engages in the management company operations. Now, the franchisee mode can best be explained in this manner that, for example, let's take JW Marriott property of Kolkata in India. This property is not owned by the Marriott group, but it is run by a third party, and Marriott receives a franchisee fee for the same. So hence it has adopted the franchisee model, and there are several properties worldwide that Marriott has adopted by using this model, the franchisee model. Now, management company operates a particular hotel for another party. For example, Marriott would never ever use its name. However, the ITC group of hotels forms a part of Marriott's luxury hotels collection group in India. Although the name has not been used, the properties are managed by Marriott. Now, here there are different scales of hotels, right from the luxury scales. I've taken the example of the Marriott Group, or Marriott International. Now, the luxury chains include Bulgari, Edition, JW Marriott, Luxury Collection, Ritz Carlton, St. Regis, W Hotel. The upper upscale would include African Pride, Delta Hotels, Autograph Collection, Le Méridien, which is, of course, a very famous Marriott uh, chain, which was an upper upscale chain. Then there are upscale chains such as the Courtyard and AC Hotels by Marriott. Then there are upper mid scales such as the Fairfield Inn and Moxie and Protea and Town Place Suites, etc. These are all different scales, but it's all under the Marriott umbrella. Then we have mid-scale hotels, and we also have the independent. Now, market segmentation by clientele. So, as we are aware that there are different types of clients that a hotel has to cater to. For example, leisure guests, destination resorts, as I mentioned previously, Then you have transients, guests who would like to stay overnight, and transient hotels would be, say, hotels that are located in the airport vicinity where guests or travelers would like to spend a few hours in an rather than a night in a particular hotel just for rest and relaxation. So an example of such a hotel would be the Holiday Inn and the Holiday Inn Express in the city of Kolkata. Now, MICE, again, meetings, incentives, conventions, and exhibitions. Now, Apple, we may have an Apple conference, Apple iPhone, the launch of a new iPhone, a new variant. They can book a banquet hall and they can have conventions there, then exhibitions as well, then incentives, of course. The companies who are extremely happy with their employees and the senior management team would grant incentives. And meetings, of course, guests who would like to, say, for example, this I'm referring to as business clients. So again, meetings is the main criteria. They may want to stay at maybe the Marriott group and have their business, and they can conduct the business meetings, and they can avail of the business center and the facilities. And if they're satisfied with the overall outlook of the hotel, they may even extend the nights. And they are again a very important uh, segment of clientele that hotels must cater to. Then yes, we have corporate and business clients. Then again, we have millennials. Here, they seek to stay in the lifestyle hotel brands. As millennials, they tend to go out more often rather than actually staying the nights and enjoying the facilities of the hotel. They would rather go out and explore the city and its and what it has to offer, the local cuisine and the tourism sites, etc., and so on and so forth. Leisure, of course, there could be leisure guests as well as business clients, and there could also be a mix of both. For example, if a businessman is going to uh, say Bangkok in Thailand for a business meeting, but at the same time he also wants to enjoy Thailand tourism. So in these kind of clients will be known as leisure clients. Now there have been several late trends, technological trends in hotels. Now 76% of travelers say that their smartphone is most important travel companion, and the 5-minute wait to check in lowers guest satisfaction by 50%. So therefore, hotels have been adopting more smart technologies, hotel chatbots, for example. It means that all your guest queries related to bookings, hotel rooms, amenities, discounts, and promotions, etc., will be managed via a chatbot in the future. And according to an IBM report, 85% of customers' inquiries will be handled through chatbot by 2020. So, mobile optimization and digital keys, of course, the guests can download the hotel app in the mobile phone, and they can always have access to their rooms with the help of their phones. Then self check-in is again a latest trend. For example, now due to the COVID scenario, most hotels engage um, in self check-in and contactless check-in. There are voice activated virtual assistants, for example Siri, that we all are aware of, in the Apple phones. They're one of the new customer service trends in this industry. It delivers a superior customer experience by reducing response times. With the help of this technology, customers can easily make special requests from their rooms. Now, most of our rooms have also this iPad enabled facilities where there's where guests can just control the level of light of they can control the level of lighting, they can control the blinds, and even guests can order for in-room dining services. Then there's instant messages and direct communication. This is again a most critical and vital part for hotels to engage with, because according to a data report, 90% of people in the West, more specifically the US and the UK, have found hotels text messages useful. It is one of the most notable hotel industry trends that instant messages, it's also a business tool to enhance customer experiencing. Online reputation management, again, a hotel has to do effective marketing and rather social media, effective social media for promotion. It has to, hotels have to reach out to their customers and to a wide, uh, to a wider market segment, and they have to advertise that they are going green, and they have come up with the new offerings in, say, for example, F&B, cuisine, and spa facilities, and many more. And it also, online reputation also includes reviews and feedback. So the guest services department plays a vital role in this regard. So TripAdvisor reviews, Goibibo reviews, they tend to influence future guests visiting the property, as well as influencing marketing. So people, at least 65% or a majority of people, would like to still book rooms after watching a video on social media marketing, say Instagram, and they would also like to read reviews before checking into a hotel or going to a restaurant. So 81% of online customers still read reviews on TripAdvisor and Google Booking.com and Goibibo and other trusted sites before booking a hotel room. So now these have been the latest trends in this hospitality trade. Now there are various crises that have also been overcome by hospitality. Some of the some of the crises include World Wars, World War One, World War Two, the Great Depressions, and economic crisis. Then pandemics such as SARS and COVID, we are still combating it, and which I'm sure that the hospitality industry will bounce back tenfold. Then terrorist attacks as well, and there was a major terrorist attack in the year 2008 in India, in the city of Mumbai. However, now security has become an essential component in this regard. The COVID-19 scenario. Now, basically, COVID or coronavirus, there are a large family of viruses. They have been transmitted between animals and people. They cause illness, ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as Middle East respiratory syndromes and several acute respiratory syndromes. So it's MERS and SARS, more precisely. Now, let's take a look at a comparative analysis between the years 2019 and 2020. Now, in the year 2019, there were, in the month of January, say for example, there were more overnight stays, there was more revenue, there were more individual guests checking into the hotel. However, in 2020, there's been a significant drop. Now, let's take a look at the month of June. Not just June, let us also take a look at the months of February, March, May, and June, where there's like a huge gap difference in the number of the amount of revenue generated and through overnight stays, and whether be it individual guests or group group travelers. So COVID has uh, adversely impacted the hospitality industry, the hotels in particular. However, now hotels have come up with safety protocols, offering PPE kits to rooms and guests. Airlines have also done the same. Masks are also offered, sanitizing kits are also offered. 6 feet social distancing. Now, again, social distancing has been a common practice, and even in a hospitality operational scenario, social distancing also plays a vital role. Most hotels have adopted this 6 feet distancing. Now, again, as I mentioned before, contactless checking without having to come into contact, avoiding close contact between the receptionist and the customer, the guest. Contactless checking is possible with the help of the the codes, and therefore the check-in process would also be completed. And the frequent sanitization, because the housekeeping department again has taken this into special consideration, that frequent sanitization of public areas and faucets is very very essential. Domestic tourism, of course, is very positive in this regard, because as a result of coronavirus and the lockdown, people have been confined to their homes, and once the lockdown eventually started lifting and life started resuming to normal. However, safety precautions at the same time, safety protocols in the form of masks and sanitizers have been a common practice among people. However, domestic people, people living in the same city and the same country, would rather travel away from their homes, and they would like to enjoy luxury by staying in one of the prime properties of any of the luxury or boutique hotel groups in India or in any other country, as they want a break, and they want to be in a place which is like home, away from home, rather than just being confined due to the lockdown. Now, again, corporate clients, we can rely on corporate clients for a brighter future, at least for the hospitality industry to sustain during this tough pandemic uh, time period. So, corporate clients and domestic tourism is a good start. However, eventually, once international borders open up, we can expect this industry to get back to normal. Then again, MICE, we can rely on banquets and weddings, because each year in India, especially in the months of um December, November, December, January, and February, it is known as the wedding season, and many weddings take place. And this is a wonderful avenue for hotels to generate sufficient revenue and therefore sustain in the market, especially in the COVID season. Now, hotels have adopted this COVID survival strategies. C as in cost cutting, they cut down on costs. O is orderliness. They have to ensure that there's regular sanitization and safety and health and operational procedures are in place. Virtualization is to develop online presence and, of course, do digital marketing. Integration, integrate efforts with other hotels and destination stakeholders to engage in green practices, and also to make people aware that the hotel is COVID free, and sanitization and social distancing are in practice. Domestication, of course, they have to tap into the domestic market. As I had mentioned before, domestic tourism is the only way, as of now, during this peak COVID season, wherein whereby hotels can generate revenue and survive and sustain in the market. Now there are glasses at hotel receptions, especially in luxury and boutique hotels, and now even in other categories of hotels for safety precautions and COVID-19 guidelines. Complying and adhering to the same would eventually also result in the hospitality industry bouncing back. And of course, contactless checking and domestic tourism and corporate clients and MICE and social distancing would help us overcome this COVID 19 crisis. In conclusion, I would like to say that hospitality serves the basic needs of mankind, and we shall overcome this crisis of COVID 19 just as the way we managed to overcome terrorism and SARS and other previous pandemics. Safety protocols would be the new normal, of course, and international travel, we are relying on international travel so that tourism would again be restored to the pre COVID era. Can also rely on domestic tourism and MICE as they are a wonderful source of revenue for hotels. New experiences will be necessary to differentiate. Now, of course, COVID 19 and social distancing, contactless checkings, etc., should also be put into place. And digital transformation, digital marketing, and contactless checking and mobile optimization is the future of the hotel industry. And yes, a hyper-local supply chain would also play a major role in overcoming this crisis.